The usurpation of the black chosen identity started when the Greeks conquered Egypt. After the Greeks conquered Egypt, they created Serapis and put Greek features on Serapis, then used him to usurp Osiris as Isis's lover. Osiris was the sun. Isis was space-time personified. This is why Isis is both Osiris's mother and lover, because space-time creates light / the sun and comes together with light to create everything else. Matter is 99.9% empty space with 0.01% light projected over nothing, making nothing falsely seen as something. So once you realize Osiris is the sun, you realize Serapis is the sun. The person that used to replace Osiris was also the sun. And Osiris, the temple of Osiris, has the flower of life painted on it. Why does it have the flower of life painted on it? Because Isis is the personification of the flower of life. This is why Isis is associated with the lotus. The lotus is basically a representation of the flower of life. In Egyptian spirituality, the lotus is the source of all creation. The sun is created by the lotus. So Osiris goes on to become Jesus Christ and create Christianity and Judaism and Islam. Jesus' story follows the sun's story. The sun dies 3 days every year after December 21st and rises again on the 25th. And this process was known as the sun dying and being reborn. The sun would die or reach its lowest point on the 21st, the 22nd. It would die on the cross created by the equator line and the line created by the sun's charting path through the sky. And the sun would appear to stop for 3 days. It would stop moving southward. It would appear to stop for 3 days. And on the 25th, it would start moving again. And the ancients called this and described this as the sun being reborn. So after the sun gets reborn, the sun goes on and continues the cycle every year. And every day the sun would be considered being rebirthed and dying again. The sun would die, come back to life. Every time the sun goes, every time the night time comes, the sun would be considered to die. And when the sun rises up again in the morning, it would be reborn. So Jesus' story is following the sun's story. This is why he's worshipped on Sunday. This is why he has the same birthday as the sun. December 25th is the birthday of the sun. It's the birthday and rebirth of the sun. So once you figure out all this, you realize, okay, Jesus is the sun. You realize Mary is Isis. Mary is Jesus's mother. And in some translations of the Bible, there's a woman called Mary that is Jesus's lover. So the same phenomenon is happening with Osiris, where Osiris's mother and lover is the same person. Same thing's happening with Jesus. Jesus's lover and mother are both called Mary because they're both the same thing. This is why Jesus is depicted coming out of a Vesca Pisces. A Vesca Pisces is two of the circles of contained in the flower of life, and it's the second stage of the process, which creates light. That's why it creates that's why it looks like a light. The Vesca Pisces looks like a light. It looks like a light. It looks like an eye, and a vagina. And Jesus is depicted coming out of it because Jesus is being created by the Vesca Pisces, or the flower of life. And who is the flower of life? The flower of life is Isis, which in this case is Mary. But, they downplayed Mary. Over time, they downplayed the feminine and uplifted the masculine. But the basic tenet of Egyptian spirituality was the mother and the son. This is where Freemasonry comes from. Mason means Ma and son. So Freemason wisdom was Ma, son, wisdom. And it comes from Egypt. The most important masculine gods in Egypt were the sun gods like Ra, Aten, Horus, Heru. These were all the sun gods. Isis, Maat, and the other gods were all personifications of darkness, personifications of space-time, right? And there was a special relationship between the personifications of space-time and light / the sun, which were recognized as male deities. The whole premise of Egyptian spirituality was to study how everything comes from blackness. Everything comes from blackness. The Genesis story, the name Genesis means gene Isis, the genealogy of Isis. Gene means to track something back to its source, and sis is short for Isis. Amen, which is said after prayer in all three Abrahamic faiths, is the Most High God of Egypt. Psalms 23, 1-6 was stolen from the Book of the Dead, which is found buried with the pharaoh along with thy rod and staff, seen depicted in the pharaoh's hands on the face of the casket. The Book of the Dead was meant to show one how to navigate the afterlife or the valley of the shadow and death. The cross was stolen from the Ankh. The Ankh was a symbol of life. The cross is a symbol of death. Proverbs was stolen from Amenhotep, destructions of Amenhotep. Psalms 104 was stolen from the Great Haim to Aten. The name Israel comes from Egypt. It's the mythology of Isis and Horus. Is short for Isis, Ra is the sun god of Egypt, and El is Yahweh. In the Bible, Yahweh is called El multiple times. Yahweh is the most high God of the Bible. El correlates to the Egyptian's devil, Set. Jerusalem, the name, means Haru Salam. Haru is the sun, Salam is dusk, the sunset. So Jerusalem means the sun at dusk, or when the sun sets, or the city where the sun sets. The 10 Commandments was stolen from the 42 laws of Ma'at. This all clearly comes from ancient Egypt. And the Egyptians was conveying how they relate to nature. And because they was black, they realized that they would have to play the biggest role out of everybody else, because darkness plays the biggest role in the universe. Everything comes from darkness. Darkness is God. Darkness is something that cannot be perceived. It's too much to be perceived. Why is it too much to be perceived? It's because darkness is everything happening simultaneously. Anything that contains all within its category turns dark or black. The reason the color black is black because it's all colors combined. It's all colors happening simultaneously. The reason black people are black is because black people are all races in one. All races happening simultaneously. Every race comes out of black people. White people are created through a mutation happening in black people that caused them to get lighter. This all happened through an ice age. Look it up. Every race comes from black people. Space is black because it contains everything. It's everything happening simultaneously. Quantum mechanics shows us that blackness is actually everything. Everything comes out of blackness. Blackness is in a state of superposition where it's everywhere and everything at the same time. And when things come together and when things are happening all simultaneously together, it becomes too much to perceive and it becomes black. Black is perfection. Black is equality. Light is inequality, right? Light was created by making something unequal black unequal, and it springs forth, and light was created. Anything you want to create, all you gotta do is make it unequal to everything else inside darkness. Everything already exists. This correlates with the law of conservation, which states nothing can be created and destroyed. Everything always existed. It always will exist. You just have to tap into its vibration and bring it out into this world. If there's a ball and equal forces are acting on the ball will not move. Nothing will appear to happen. But this is an illusion, right? Because in actuality, all the forces are happening simultaneously, right? So nothing is basically everything happening simultaneously. And the reason we perceive it as nothing is because it becomes too much to perceive. It's too much. It's too great. This is why God is black, because God is too great. God is too much to perceive, too much to comprehend, right? So thus it turns black, right? So Egyptians realized this, and it was like, okay, we are the chosen ones. We are remodeled after darkness, right? This is why we have melanin. Melanin allows black people to absorb sunlight and absorb the different frequencies of nature coming from the plants, humans, wherever. All these frequencies get absorbed by melanin, and we connect to nature on a deeper level than anybody else, than any other race. Melanin inside your brain correlates to intelligence, called neuromelanin. It's made of eumelanin and pheomelanin. It's made of mostly eumelanin, and high amounts of pheomelanin and neuromelanin causes cognitive decline. Higher amounts of eumelanin causes your cognitive functions to increase, because eumelanin is conductive and pheomelanin is not conductive. It's a defective version of eumelanin that whites create, right? So the more melanin you have, the more intelligent, the more faster, the more creative you are, because melanin enhances everything. You may have melanin in your brain, your muscles, your heart, everything. Melanin is the ultimate enhancer, right? So people who don't have melanin, they lost their enhancement, right? And Egyptians understood this, right? They understood all this, right? But a lot of this information was destroyed when they burned down the Library of Alexandria. But Egyptians was teaching all this, and Europeans came, destroyed the Egyptians, took their story, and made themselves the stars of the show. And this is how modern religion was created, and this is how the usurpation of the black chosen identity happened. It happened when the Greeks conquered Egypt. And because blackness is equality, it's going to be up to black people to bring equality to the world, right? Right now, there's inequality in the world. Why is that? Because white people control the world. White people operate off of light. Light is unequal. Light is asymmetric. Asymmetry is about inequality, right? Unequalness, unfairness. Equalness, equality, equilibrium is righteousness. Unequalness is unrighteousness, evil. And this is why we live in a world that is not fair. It's unequal, right? And it's gonna be up to us, black people, to bring equality to the world, to bring righteousness to the world, because we are modeled after darkness, blackness, and blackness is equality. Light is inequality, right? The story of the universe, right, is darkness creating light, creating its opposite. Why did darkness create light? We don't know. We can only speculate. And the biggest, most reasonable explanation is God wanted to experience what it couldn't experience. And so it created its opposite, its evil opposite, right? People think darkness is evil, when in actuality, scientifically, light is the evil one, because light is asymmetry. Evil is asymmetric. Evil is about inequality. Evil is not about equality. Darkness is about equality, right? Darkness is symmetric, right? To create something, you have to break the symmetry of darkness. This is why we have to study science. We have to really get into science. Science is very, very important. Our ancestors Black people ancestors were scientific. They were spiritual scientists, right? This religious mumbo jumbo comes from Europeans corrupting our story and trying to make themselves the star of our show, right? So once you get into all this, you get into melanin, you get into darkness, you get into the Egyptians and them being black and how they got conquered by the Greeks, you will clearly see that these stories that's in the Bible, that's in the Torah, are talking about black people. They were originally meant for black people before they were stolen by Europeans and made to fit them, right? And when they stole our stories, they made the devil the most high God of the Bible. Search it up. The God of the Bible is called Baal. The God of Israel is called Baal. And Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, their followers all worship the same God, the God of Israel, who is Baal. After darkness creates light, light dices darkness into a million gazillion pieces, trapping darkness into light prisons, which is matter. This is what creates our reality. And this also creates the illusion of separation and limitation, which is the source of all of our suffering. All suffering is due to limitation and separation, which are illusions. In reality, everything is connected, everything is one. In reality, everything is unlimited, everything is unlimited darkness. And this is the deception of light, right? And your job is to see past light's deception, right? Which is very hard to do because the illusion light traps you in is very convincing. It seems very real, right? I'm something, right? When in reality, on the deepest level, on the most fundamental level, I am nothing. I am blackness, right? Because I am made of matter, which is 99.9% blackness / nothing, right? The 0.01% of me is an illusion. It's holding me back. The light attached to me, trapping me, is keeping me oppressed. It's keeping me restricted. It's keeping me limited. Thus, it is making me suffer, right? And because of as above, so below, which is beautifully illustrated through Matthew 6, verse 10, let thy kingdom come, let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, is the expression of as above, so below. The earth is going to follow the same patterns as the heavens, right? And because of as above, so below, everything is repeating in a different version. We are basically a retelling of our cosmic story. This is why black people create white people, just like darkness creates light. This is why white people destroyed black people as soon as they was created, just like light destroys darkness once it's created. Light attacks darkness, right? Right. From a different perspective, you could say they having sex with each other, right, to create everything else. But from another perspective, you could say light is attacking darkness, right? Light traps darkness, right? Right? Light is the masculine, darkness is the feminine. Everything has two sides, the feminine and the masculine. And a lot of people, a lot of men throughout history did not like that the feminine was the most important side. The most important aspect of nature is the feminine aspects of nature, not the masculine aspects of nature. This is why black people historically treated women with respect, and this is why white people historically treated women with disrespect. Because the white people are operating off the masculine, black people are operating off the feminine. So after these two forces clash or have sex, they create everything else. And because of as above, so below, Black people are following the same story of darkness, and white people are following the same story of unequal, asymmetric light, which limits and traps everything in an elaborate illusion. And this correlates to what white people are doing. Of course, not all white people are unfair or evil, but the upper echelon, the ruling class of white people, is destined to be evil, right? Because they're operating off of an evil polarity. The higher upper echelon of black people is destined to be righteous/fair because black people operate on fairness and equality, which is darkness. Darkness is perfection. Everything is imperfect. Everything besides darkness. And everything is trying to go back to perfection. It's trying to go back to darkness, right? This is why matter comes together and condenses, it blackens, right? You get a black hole when enough matter condenses into itself, right? Because everything is trying to go back to its perfect black perfection. Basically, everything devolved from blackness, right? Everything's devolving from blackness. It's separating from blackness. Blackness is everything happening simultaneously, and everything else is it being separated from blackness/darkness, which is just an illusion in itself created by light. And this is why Buddha and all the ancients in China and many places around the world said that reality is an illusion. Reality is most certainly an illusion. It's a very well-crafted illusion. The only thing that's real is your reaction to the illusion. And it's very pertinent you figure out you are in the illusion and break free from the illusion, which will let you tap into supernatural power, right? Because in essence, you are unlimited. You are God. You are darkness, that's blackness, the creator of all things. And it's only your beliefs, it's only this light illusion that is trapping you, and it is the source of all your suffering. But yeah, to end this on a good note, black people are going to bring equality to humanity because they are destined to. They are a model of darkness, that's blackness, which is equality. And because of as above, so below, we cannot escape the patterns that created us. They're inescapable. And yes, this is a short, detailed explanation of how the usurpation of black people happened, the usurpation of the black chosen identity.